Firstly, good morning to Miss Emeralda. I'm Muhammad Izzat from BE 203 TESOL, conducting this interview to get the information about topic 4, a relationship between teacher and student for the subject physical education, EDU 2363. Okay, for the first question, do you prefer working with a certain kind of student, for example, who is intelligent or sincere, or do you think it is a teacher's responsibility to teach any kind of student, regardless whether he or she is intelligent or weak? Please explain.
Okay, before I'm going to answer the questions, good morning to Muhammad Sulizat. Okay, for the first question, when it comes to our ethic of profession as a teacher, there is no such thing as choosing a student. Once the student are in your class, you have the full responsibility in teaching the student, deliver the lesson to the student. Unless if you are special need teachers, if you are a special need teacher, you are able to choose what kind of students you want to teach. But as for us, academic, okay, especially in the primary or secondary school, there are no room of choosing. So you have to deliver the lesson equally. Even though your student has different kind of proficiency, you cannot choose what kind of student you want to deliver your lesson. Okay.
Let's move on to the second question. The second question is, do you give equal opportunity to all students in class, or do you distribute the responsibility based on the skill of the student? Please explain.
Personally, in my class, so far I'm guessing is yes. I give equal opportunity for everyone in the class. For example, like if today's teaching is related to speaking, I will make sure everyone is participate. But sometimes we have students who show tantrum in class. If we have that kind of student in class, we need to make sure we change our approach of teaching. But getting back to the question, do I give equal opportunity? Yes, I give equal opportunity to everyone in class.
Thank you for the answer. The third question is, how do you normally work with a weak student in your class? How do you encourage such a student?
Talking about weak student or low proficiency student, when working with this kind of student, it requires lots of passion and endurance. One thing for sure, teacher should find which area the student is lacking. Okay, before we give specific lesson for this kind of student. For example, most of teacher will say they will give extra exercise, but without knowing which area the student is lacking. For example, if the student is lacking in the speaking area, we should focus more on the speaking area. If the student is lacking in the writing area or in the grammar area, we should focus on that area.
Okay, for the question number 4 is, if one of your students was to describe you, how do you think he or she would describe you?
What do you think, Zak? Okay, I think my student will probably describe me as kind and gentle type of teacher. Okay, my style of approaching depends on the student behavior. So for now, I'm teaching in the Form 6, so they are students. So my approach to the student, I will make sure that they will not be afraid when I enter the class. Some students will get nervous, especially if the English teacher is entering the class. So my approach for this kind of student, or for my current student now, is to make sure that they I will make them feel that I can be their friend. So I think my student will probably describe me as a kind and gentle teacher.
Okay, that's true, Miss. Okay, for the five question is, based on your experience, do you think teachers should personalize instruction according to the ability of the individual student in class? Or do you think one of form of instruction should be followed in class as it will be more feasible for the teacher? Please explain.
For this question, okay, if you look in our education system, especially in Malaysian system, one form of instruction should be better. Why? Because the student the student, especially in Malaysia, from the kindergarten to primary and to secondary, they are all with one form of instruction. Okay, personally, taking from my experience, because I have taught international and also in the government school. Unless if you have an assistant teacher helping you, you should be able to have enough time if you want to create individual instruction for your student. But getting back to our form of education in school, in especially in primary, if you want to conduct individual instruction, the only enemy you will have or you will face is time. Teacher always doesn't have enough time when they want to conduct lesson in the class because of this kind of student like this. We have different type of students. So getting back to this question, one form of instruction should be better.
For the sixth question, how do you deal with children with difficult behaviors? How do you establish good relation with such students?
Dealing with student with difficult behavior was never an easy job for the teacher. Okay, once you experience facing this kind of student, you will have no no, you will have you will need to choose your type of teaching method. Okay, for example, you need not for example. First, you need to find the main cause why the student is behaving like that. Okay, that way, and never ever let the student get control of you. Okay, never ever let the student get control of you. Let's say if the student show tantrum or the student doesn't want to participate in your lesson when you are teaching, so you need to know the way the student like the class. For example, if the student like music, so you need to choose your teaching your type of the no your approach by using music. If the student like to watch movie, then you should include movie in your lesson. So by that, probably it will help you to dealing with this student. So the other student in the class will not get distracted by this particular student, but at the same time, this student able to participate in your lesson. Yeah.
Next question, have you had any struggle in the past with slow learners? If yes, how did you overcome the issue and how did you make them match up with the rest of the class?
Slow learner student, yes. Yes. I always have slow learner student in my class. Okay, what I can do for this student, what can I help for this student is by giving them one-to-one lesson while the other are doing independent learning. Okay, slow learner student, they are willing to learn, but they are just slow. So the best way to approach them is by giving them one-to-one lesson, teacher and student. Okay, teacher and student.
Okay, for the last question is, do you often appreciate students, especially slow learners, who work hard to perform well and succeed? Please explain.
Appreciating student, yes, I am a very hard fan of B.F. Skinner reinforcement theory. Okay, therefore, by giving the student encouragement, positive reinforcement such as reward, giving reward and positive encouragement is my way to appreciate my students. For example, if I conduct a test or if I conduct a extra class, if the student are joining the class, I will give them reward, okay, reward to encourage them to participate in my class. So yes, the way of the my way of appreciate student is by giving reward and positive reinforcement.
Okay, we have come to the end of our interview session. Thank you for joining me for today.
Okay, you're welcome.
Let's start.
Thank you so much, madam. So, okay, first question is,
Okay.
do you prefer teaching certain types of student, like those who are intelligent or hardworking, or do you believe it's your duty to teach all students no matter their abilities?
Oh, that's a good question, actually. Okay. First of all, I mean, like, not as an educator. I mean, as a person itself, I don't think it's something that we do. We kind of segregate the student based on their proficiency. So I think it wouldn't be a problem for me to teach students at any levels. So as a teacher, once we start talking and interacting with the students, we know the students' level of proficiencies already. We know we can already categorize them into weak students, intermediate students, and advanced students. So if back to the question, if you that you're asking me if I prefer to teach students based on the level, no, actually, I don't mind teaching them. It's okay.
Okay.
Am I answering your question?
Yes, you are.
Okay.
Okay. And then next question is, do you
Mm-hmm.
give every student the same opportunities in class, or do you
Mm.
assign tasks based on their skills? Can you
Based
explain
on the
why?
scripts. Oh, okay. In my class, most of the time, I kind of integrate task or assignment that would cater each of students' need. So, for example, I love speaking assignment in my class because I believe in speaking assignment, students of all proficiency, they will help each other because it's like this. The analogy is like what you don't have, your team member would back you up. So I think that's it. Am I answering your question again?
Of course, madam.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Okay. So how do you usually help weaker student in your class? What do
Mm.
you do to encourage them?
Mm. So usually for weaker student in my class, I would pair them with more advanced students. I would pair them because most of the time students they are more comfortable in learning with their friends or their peer compared to the teacher themselves. Maybe they feel shy, they feel embarrassed, they don't want to admit that they're not good in certain areas. But with their members, with their friends, they're very good at it. So I believe that having them in pair work or in my experience, group work, other member of the team will be able to help the student. And then I think that is the best way because students learn more from each other actually. So we as teachers, we can just facilitate and then when we see the problem, we just tweak here and there to fix that. Okay,
I
I
love
think
that.
that's all for that
Yes,
question.
I love that. Okay, so if your student had to describe you as a teacher, what do you think they would say?
Wow. I I don't know. You're my student. Well, how would you describe me?
I would say that you're such a nice teacher ever in the world
Oh, oh,
and
that's so
sweet.
nice. I'm not really sure when it comes to my students' perception of me, but in my perspective, I always try my very best to treat my students as they want to be treated. Because my Form 6 students, they are the young adult. So they do not want to be treated as the aliran perdana student, like Form 1 and Form 5 students, like whatever the teachers ask you to do and you have to do it. So they do not want that. They want to have their own authority. They want to have their own decision. And I am trying to integrate that. I'm trying to give that to my Form 6 student. So I always remind them to, if you want me to treat you like an adult, so it is best for you to act like an adult. So I think that is my approach with the Form 6 student, because I was once in a Form 6 class, and then I understand how the young adults' mind and perspectives, how rebellious we can be at one time. So I think that is basically my approach with my students.
And then, in your experience, should teacher adjust their teaching styles based on each student's ability, or is it better to use one method for the whole class? And why?
Mm. That's actually a very good question. Interesting one. Different teacher, they have a different teaching style. So even though you get the same teacher who's teaching the same subject, the approach always different. So if you ask me, I believe that teacher we must adapt our teaching style according to our students' needs. We cannot just stagnate at one approach, for example. So let's say I went into this class, and then the need of students are different with another class. The need of students is different with another class. So I have to kind of adapt my teaching style. Maybe I need to use more than one teaching methods to cater the students' need. Why? Because like you said, every student is different. They need different things. So my job as a teacher is trying my very best to facilitate the learning and giving them what to say, and trying to instill the interest in teaching the language itself. Yeah, because I believe that English is not everyone's cup of tea. Not everyone understand the reason, the importance of English language nowadays. So as a teacher, I believe that the first thing first that student will see is the teacher itself. Who's the teacher? If they like the teacher, they have more motivation to learn the language. It's true for me myself. I'm talking from my own experience. If I like the teacher, I have more motivation to learn the subject itself. So I think the first impression is also important when it comes to teaching the language.
Okay. How do you handle student with difficult behavior? How do you build
Ooh,
a good relationship with them?
oh, that's a very interesting question. I encounter a lot of students. We do not say I wouldn't prefer to say like they are difficult. I think because every students, they have different need. You have different need from your friends, and they have different need from their friend. So as a teacher, I think I would go back and learn about their background. Usually, students with struggles, this kind of struggle, they have something that other students don't have in the background. Maybe they have family issue. Maybe they have financial problems. So there are a lot of factors that contribute to their attitude in class. So in my experience, I would go back and then I would check the student's background and trying to tackle that first. Usually, I would personally go to that students and then I would talk to them and then I would try to give them a little bit of love. Actually, most students, they need that little bit of attention from people. So, and then when you show them that you care for them, you understand what they're going through, that somebody truly care for what you've going through. Maybe you have problems at home, you don't have money, you have to work extra shift just to be at school. So I have a lot of students like that. So actually they just need the attention. When they know that someone's paying attention to them, And then they're not difficult at all. They just need someone to understand them. So Alhamdulillah, for now, in my experience of teaching WET, whenever I have the challenge with this kind of students, the only thing that I do is just show them that you care. When you show them that you care, and then just like that,
That's how you
they
tackle
have,
them.
yeah, that's how I tackle them. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Have you ever struggled with helping slow learners?
Mm.
Yes. If
Of
so, how
course.
did you help them catch up with the rest of the class?
Slow learners, interesting question. Since we have a mixed class, we do not stream our student based on their proficiency and everything. So if I ever stumble into a student who are very weak, for example, of course we have students that's very weak, I would advise my students to focus on the parts, or for example in my paper we have 4 papers. I would sit with the students and I would talk to him or her and determine where is your strength and weakness in terms of the papers. So let's say maybe the weak student is not very good in writing, so I would help that person to be good in something that he or she's good at, for example speaking. So you cannot be good at all 4 papers. Not everyone can do that, but you can pick and choose which one is better than the rest. So I will try to focus on the strength. So the strength would cover for the weak, not the weak, the one that needs more attention. Yeah, something like that.
Do you often praise and encourage students, especially those who struggle but work hard?
Mhm.
Can you give an example?
Mm, praise the student. Oh, yes, yes. I love praising my student because I believe, like I said before, most students, young adults, all they need is a little bit of attention and care. So when you praise them, actually they love it. They see that people notice them, that people see that they are putting hard work onto something. For example, let's say like in my class, usually when I ask my student to do speaking assignment and all, I would check their work from time to time and I would give them encouragement. I would say, you're doing good, you're doing very good, I'm very proud of you, and stuff like that. So I believe that this kind of encouragement, it really helps my students in producing better work when it comes to the assignment. And not only student, I believe that everyone in the whole wide world would appreciate if someone sees our effort and then just notice it and say something about it. Yeah, I think so.
Okay. That
Yeah.
is, I think that's all.
That's all.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much, madam.
Oh, no problem, sweetheart.
Hi and good afternoon. My name is Alma Balkis binti Atikullah, and today I will interview you about student and teacher relationship. Okay, we we start with the first question. Do you prefer teaching certain type of students, like those who are intelligent or hardworking, or do you believe it's your duty to teach all students, no matter their abilities, and why?
Okay, it is my duty to teach all kinds of students, but of course, we will prefer hardworking students. Okay, but it's still my responsibility to teach all the students as a teacher. Okay, to provide everyone with the knowledge and education that they deserve.
Okay. The next question. Do you give every student the same opportunities in class, or do you assign tasks based on their skills? Can you explain why?
I try to give everyone the same opportunities, but I will pay more attention to those who are weaker. Okay, so that they get more opportunity to be better and to catch up with their peers.
Alright. For the question number 3, how do you usually help weaker student in your class? What do you do to encourage them?
Sometimes I give them extra work, okay, and then words of encouragement and feedback to keep them motivated to keep trying.
Alright. The next question. If your student had to describe you as a teacher, what do you think they would say?
Okay, I hope they see me as someone with friendly, okay, positive and approachable, okay.
Alright. In your experience, should teacher adjust their teaching style based on each student's ability, or is it better to use one method for the whole class, and why?
We should use different methods, okay, based on the student's ability. It's what we call differentiation strategy because everyone's different. So we have like different category of students, and we should be able to cater to all this to be fair. They have equal opportunity. So like better students, lesser guidance, and maybe more tasks, and for those weaker students, we provide them with more guidance and maybe simpler tasks.
Alright. How do you handle students with difficult behavior? How do you build a good relationship with them?
Okay, I can be a bit sarcastic sometimes, okay, but I do try to make jokes, to try to let them feel comfortable with me and then, slowly persuade them and to get them to work with me to improve themselves.
Have you ever struggled with helping slow learners? If so, how did you help them catch up with the rest of the class?
I have worked with slow learners before, and they are usually the ones with learning difficulty. Okay, so and these are the students that really need a lot of attention, and most of the time they are not motivated. So there's a lot of extra work. Okay, and it is sort of difficult to keep them motivated and to get them to work, especially when it comes to English itself. Okay, because most of the time, they find it, they don't see the importance of studying English. So yeah, a lot of attention is needed. They need more care and love. So yeah, you need to work with them very slowly.
Okay, for the last question, do you often praise and encourage students, especially those who struggle but work hard? Can you give an example?
Yes. Okay. So usually, verbal praises. Okay. Direct feedback. As soon as they respond or give their answers, participate in class, and yeah, that's usually what I do. Okay. What they call that positive reinforcement, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, that's all for me. Thank you for
All
your
right.
responding.
Okay. No problem.
Hi, Assalamualaikum, Cikgu Rose. My name is Nur Aliana Biha, and today I will ask you a question about teachers' relationship with students. Okay, the first question is, do you prefer working with a certain kind of student, for example, who is intelligent, or do you think it is teacher's responsibility to teach any kind of student, regardless of whether he or she intelligent or weak?
Assalamualaikum ya.
Salam.
Bagi saya lah. Saya cakap Melayu
Okay.
saya percaya sebagai seorang guru, saya kena terima lah untuk mengajar pelbagai jenis murid. Kita faham bahawa setiap orang tidak dianugerahkan satu anugerah sahaja. Kita pun belajar tentang kecerdasan pelbagai. So untuk itu saya prefer mengajar semua jenis murid lah. Sama ada yang bijak ataupun sederhana ataupun yang lemah. Bagi saya untuk murid-murid ni approach ni pun berbeza kan. Dari segi murid yang cerdik, approach-nya mungkin lagi mudah untuk kita dapat pencapaian yang lebih baik lah. Dari segi murid yang agak lemah, itu juga adalah satu cabaran lah untuk saya. Tapi sama ada pelbagai jenis murid pun, sebagai seorang guru, saya seronok mengajar semua jenis murid.
Okay. The next question is, do you give equal opportunity to all students in class, or do you distribute the responsibility based on the skill of the student?
Sebagai guru, amat penting untuk saya memberikan peluang kepada semua murid, dan dalam masa yang sama saya kena menghargai lah dia punya skill ataupun kemahiran yang berbeza. Contohnya untuk dari segi peluang tu, saya akan berikan kepada semua budak. Contohnya macam saya berikan task ataupun tugasan kepada mereka. Mungkin ada murid yang lebih suka untuk datang ke hadapan, tunjukkan jalan kerja dia je ke, ataupun ada murid yang suka menjaga masa. Mungkin juga ada murid yang tulisannya cantik kan, dia boleh tulis, tunjukkan jalan kerja di hadapan. So dari segi peluang tu saya akan berikan kepada semualah, sebab skill setiap orang tak sama. Tapi kita faham bahawa dan contohnya kerja berkumpulan juga, mungkin ada murid yang mungkin agak introvert, mungkin dia dia tak boleh nak beri kerjasama kepada setengah kumpulan, tapi mungkin bila kita berikan peluang dia untuk mencari rakan daripada kumpulan yang dia suka, mungkin dia akan lebih menyelah daripada murid lain.
I see. Okay. How do you normally work with a weak student in your class? How do you encourage such student?
Untuk murid yang lemah ni, macam tahun ni saya mengajar murid yang lemah lah, sebabkan kan. Tapi itu adalah satu challenge pada saya. Kadang-kadang seronok juga mereka layan mereka punya sikap ni.
Macam kelas saya dulu.
Untuk approach mereka, saya lebih suka slow and steady lah. Kita ajar one by one. Kita tak boleh nak terlalu memaksa mereka dalam membuat satu tugasan. Kemudian dari segi sikap mereka pula, ada masa juga kita kena tegur. Kan kita faham bahawa mereka ni lemah. Namun pada masa yang sama juga kita tak boleh nak beri terlalu banyak input kepada mereka. Mungkin berikan tugasan tu step by step. Dalam masa yang sama juga kita kena hargailah. Ada setengah yang buat kesilapan, mungkin dia tak follow apa yang arahan yang saya berikan. Kita terima. Macam mungkin ada setengah rasa macam nak marah. Memang kita rasa nak marah kan kalau tak follow kan. Tapi dalam masa yang sama kita kena faham bahawa mereka juga mungkin arahan yang saya berikan tu terlalu banyak yang buatkan mereka tak faham. So kita kena bagi peluang kepada mereka, biar dia rasa appreciate bahawa walaupun dia membuat kesalahan, mungkin slide lah kesilapan yang sedikit untuk mendapatkan jawapan yang betul. Contohnya, kita terima tapi kita perbetulkan balik yang silap.
Okay. Next question. If one of your student was to describe you, how do you think he or she would describe you?
Ni unik sikit lah soalan ni. Sebab saya pun kadang-kadang susah nak menilai diri saya sendiri. Okey, saya untuk menilai diri saya sendiri, saya mungkin ada pelbagai sikap. Okey, berdasarkan kepada situasi, berdasarkan juga kepada emosi saya. Okey, mungkin ada masa saya rasa saya ni seorang yang penyabar. Okey, ada masa saya juga adalah seorang yang garang lah kepada anak-anak murid saya. Okey, dalam masa yang sama untuk murid yang nakal juga mungkin dia rasa saya garang, tapi at the same time saya kadang-kadang suka main tarik tahdi dengan diorang lah. Ada masa saya marah, ada masa juga saya berlembut dengan mereka. Okay.
Based on your experience, do you think teachers should personalize instruction according to the ability of the individual student in class? Or do you think one form of instruction should be followed in class as it would be feasible for the teacher?
Okay. Berdasarkan pengalaman, dia untuk memberikan arahan kepada mereka ni boleh berbagai lah. Okey, kita faham bahawa cara approach kita berbeza. Kita mungkin memberi arahan 2-3 kali kepada mereka, tapi kita perlu beri fleksibel lah untuk perkara ini. Okey, mungkin untuk murid yang cerdik, kita cakap sekali pun mereka dah faham. Okey, tapi dalam masa yang sama ada murid yang kurang faham. Okey, murid yang kurang faham tu mungkin sebab kita cakap terlalu laju ke, ataupun ayat yang saya berikan tu terlalu sukar untuk dipahami. So pada masa yang sama, kita kena beri peluang kepada mereka. Okey, mungkin ayat yang pertama tu mereka kurang faham. Okey, next mungkin ada yang bertanya, ada yang angkat tangan ke, ataupun ada yang berbisik-bisik dengan kawan dia tak faham soalan saya. Okey, maka saya akan berikan soalan lagi tapi dengan cara yang berbeza. Mungkin kalau sekarang ni kita ikut soalan mengikut Gen Z. Okey, gitu.
Okay. How do you deal with children with difficult behavior? How do you establish good relation with such student?
Okay. Sikap untuk kita semua ni, kita pun daripada latar belakang berbeza, daripada keluarga yang berbeza, tapi bersatu dalam satu kelas yang sama mungkin. Okey, dengan sikap yang berbeza ni, kita ada berbagai sikap. Ada yang pendiam, tetapi dalam masa yang sama degil juga. Okey, ada yang budak ni aktif, tapi bila beri arahan mereka boleh dapat mengikut arahan dengan baik. Okey, so untuk murid yang begini, kita kena be fleksibel lah. Okey, untuk murid yang difficult behaviour tu, kita kena sabar. Okey, kita kena faham, kita kena ada engagement dengan mereka. Okey, kita kena fahami apa masalah mereka. Mungkin pada hari tersebut emosi mereka tak stabil. Mungkin mereka nak datang ke sekolah, mungkin tak cukup baju. So emosi pun tak stabil lah itu. Okey, lepas tu mungkin juga ada setengahnya mereka tengah fikir apa yang berlaku kat rumah. Okey, mungkin ada masalah dekat rumah, mungkin fikirkan tentang adik. Okey, so untuk mereka begini kita kena be fleksibel, kita kena faham dan tak boleh terlalu ikutkan kepada emosi saya. Okay.
Have you had any struggle in the past with slow learner? If yes, how did you overcome the issue and how did you make them match up with the rest of the class?
Okay. Slow learner, kita faham slow learner pun ada pelbagai. Ada yang aktif, ada yang pasif. Okay, untuk slow learner yang aktif, sometimes kita kena dekat dengan dia. Okay, tunjukkan tanya juga apa yang mereka mahu, dan pada masa yang sama kita tarik tali lah. Okay, untuk mereka yang pasif ni pula, sometimes yang pasif ni dia lebih mendengar kata lah. Okay, kita kena approach dia, pergi kat tempat dia, and tunjuk langkah pengajaran tu satu persatu. kerana tak semua murid mampu kalau tak faham untuk angkat tangan kan. Okay, at the same time dengan yang sama kita appreciate kadang-kadang kalau mereka dapat buat jawapan yang betul, kita bagilah imbuhan. Contohnya bagi gula-gula sebiji ke, bagi duit 5 sen ke. Sometimes itu boleh menarik minat mereka lah untuk join aktiviti dalam kelas.
Okay. This is the last question for the interview. Do you often appreciate students, especially slow learners, who work hard to perform well and succeed?
Okay. Biasanya saya lebih appreciate mereka. Semua murid kita kena appreciate kan. Okay, untuk murid yang slow learner ni, satu hal kita kena faham, kita kena lebih sabar dengan dia. Cara untuk hargai dia, macam biasa kita kena berikan pujian yang lebih. Okay, kita nampak dia memang struggle. Okay, tapi pada masa yang sama kita kena beri pujian kepada usaha mereka. Mungkin sometimes apa yang mereka buat tu silap. Okay, tapi disebabkan usaha dia untuk menjawab soalan tersebut, kita appreciate mereka. Mungkin dengan kata-kata, mungkin dengan imbuhan, okay, dengan mereka ni juga kita kena lebih approachable supaya mereka rasa mereka tu wujud di dalam kelas dan rasa lebih dihargai.
Okay. That's all the question for the interview. Thank you, Cikgu Rose, for helping me for this interview. That's it. Cikgu.